Welcome to the show where we normally start with hello, but right now I'm just like fuck assholes. So yeah, I make a lot of I make a lot of videos while I'm angry because when I'm angry, I feel very motivated to speak about the things that I feel passionate about. So if you don't like this energy, don't watch my videos. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about something that just happened to me, which also relates to something else that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just realizing that my table is fucking dusty, and the guy must have come by to clean the AC. I just got home, so I'm noticing this now, and I'm like, Anyway, okay. So, yeah. So I was on my way home. So first, let me explain what happened. I was on my way home. So, like I just said, I just got home. Just got out of the cab and I'm walking down to my house and trash. Yeah, I just got out of the cab and I'm walking down to my house and there's these men that are on the road for me to walk down to my house and one of them says hello and I say hello back. I don't really turn around and pay attention. I'm just like hello, just courtesy, but I have no interest. Um, I have no interest because I'm not interested in the tone of the hello, but common courtesy, sure, hello. We said hello, I'll say hello back. And the tone of the hello is obviously, sexual interest, and I'm just not into it. I have someone, and I don't care about you like that or at all. So anyway, yeah, I say hello, and then the other guy says, he says kind of to himself, or to, not even really to himself, he says it to the guy, but he says it loud enough for me to hear. But he's not really speaking to me. He's speaking about me to someone else around me. And this is something that I am used to men doing. Not every man, obviously, but a lot of men do this. They'll speak about a woman to her face, but not to her, to the men around him. And he's saying this wanting her to hear, but he's not actually speaking to her directly. So essentially, objectifying in its, most exemplified form. So anyway, yeah. So he says, yeah, she's got a nice chest. Yeah, you have a really nice chest. And then I said, thank you. That's not something that you say to a stranger. And then he's like, well, I'm just appreciating. And I'm like, nevertheless, it's not something you say to someone you don't know. And I'm still, as I'm saying this, I don't stop at any point. I'm just walking down and I'm just speaking behind. Um, and yes, I know I don't have to, but I'm doing it because I like teaching people lessons. So I want him to walk away from the situation knowing that he's not going to speak to me like this and not get a talking to of some kind. So anyway, yeah, so then he's like, well, is it a problem? I said, yeah, it's a problem. That's obviously why I'm telling you that's not how you speak to someone you don't know. And I say this with like, my voice is like loud now, irritated. And he's looking like, what the fuck is she talking about? What is she going on about? I'm like, nigga. Anyway, and so there's this other guy who's a bit lower. So there were three guys, two were a bit higher up, one was a bit lower down, and they were all kind of talking to each other. And the one lower down, the one that I am now, whose level I've gotten to because I've been walking the whole time, he's like, he obviously doesn't follow. I was like, yeah, obviously he doesn't follow. And then I kept walking and I went home. Anyway, so yeah, so this is pretty much the subject of the conversation that I want to talk about, in which it's so irritating to me how, not just to me, to other people, I'm sure, but I'm speaking about myself here, how there's so many men who don't understand that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you want to appreciate something. If it's someone that you don't know, there's certain things that you're not allowed to say to someone. You're not allowed to tell me that you like my boobs because I don't fucking know you. And you are not allowed to say either that my boobs aren't allowed to be on show, because the problem is not that my boobs are on show or that you can see them. The problem is not that. The problem is that you don't have the right to open your mouth and say something like this to me because you don't know me. We don't have this familiarity for it to be okay for you to say something like that. It's not my fault for having boobs. It's your fault for not having fucking self-control and understanding that you don't get to speak to someone that you don't know like that. It's not about your appreciation and you just wanting to appreciate and you being like, well, I'm just appreciating. Appreciate it in your mind. But don't tell me this because you don't know me. And this brings me back to It's not the first time I've had this experience. Obviously not. But I'm incensed about it right now because of the interaction that I had with this guy. Um, I don't consistently have interactions that are like, like back and forth like that with such men. But this happened now and I'm irritated, and so this is what drove me to make this video. And this brought me back to another instance that happened to me about a month ago. Yeah, this was about a month ago. Perhaps to the week, perhaps to the week, I think it was a month ago. And what happened was I was arrested. Me and my boyfriend and a friend of his that both of us were um, in a meeting with, we were arrested. So we were at this like bar, and that's where we had the little meeting. Both my boyfriend and I wanted information from this guy regarding printing things because he works in a printing press type place, and we both wanted that information for businesses that both me and my boyfriend have individually, respectively, and we wanted information about like the cost of printing and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So we were having a meeting about that. And this bar that we were at was a bar close to where he works, his friend, my boyfriend's friend. So we'll call him Shaggy. So it was close to Shaggy's workplace. And Shaggy often goes to this bar, like pretty much every day. He goes to have a drink there, maybe eat some food because they also make food there. Yeah. And okay, I'm gonna eat. Speaking of food, because I'm who's hungry, and it's been hours since I ate properly. In fact, I don't think I ate properly today at all. This is not a mukbang. I'm just eating. Anyway, so Shaggy often goes to this bar. This bar is across the street from a police station, like a particular regiment of the police. I don't know what the English translation for this regiment would be, but anyway, it's a particular regiment of the police that's there. It has a specific name, and so yeah, that bar is across the street from there, and so the fact that Shaggy goes there all the time is important because he goes there all the time and he's not always wearing his mask, his COVID mask, and he's never really been arrested for it. And let's just get real about something here. In Gabon, people don't take COVID seriously. So, you have tons of people who never wear masks when they're out. They walk by police and they still aren't wearing their masks, and the police doesn't stop nobody. So it's kind of like, what? If you're gonna get stopped for not wearing your mask, it depends on the place, right? But if you get stopped for not wearing your mask when you walk by a place where you never wear your mask and the police sees you, it's kind of like, what the fuck? Like what? Like why? Why do you care all of a sudden? So anyway, this is pretty much what happened to us that day. So we were walking out of the bar, and we had our masks just around our chins. And then as we were walking up back towards Shaggy's workplace, we hear a whistle, police whistle, from across the street where there's that police regiment. And pretty much, yeah, they're wanting us to stop, and we pretty much understand before we even realize that they want us to stop. For us, it was just kind of like, oh, they're reminding us, put your mask on. So it's just like, oh, all right, our mask. So we put it on, and we're about to keep walking, but then they again, and it's like, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, great. So yeah, we're not just gonna get to walk away, blah blah blah. We're getting arrested. So we're just like, okay, fine, fine. This is annoying, but okay, fine, fine. So we go into the police station, blah, 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 and there's a whole bunch of other people in there, and we've all been arrested for the same thing, not wearing our mask. And there's this one douchebag, douchebag of the century. Very much one of those power-hungry assholes you see in movies You know, when you see a movie about someone who, one person or people, they're in like a jail, a prison, or detention camp, and you know, there's that really evil bastard who just makes, who just, you know, really gives hell to people because he has some power issues in his mind. That was very much that guy. Very much that guy who was the one in charge of like taking people's information, blah blah blah. And so pretty much, yeah. So we get there, and the guy's like, yeah. So we pretty much, you know, we sit down. We have to sit down, and then it's like one by one. We have to go in front of the guy, in front of his desk, and the desk is like there, like everyone is around there. So when he's speaking to you on the desk, everyone is there. If he's speaking to you disrespectfully, which of course he's going to because he's a power hungry loser, he's gonna speak to you disrespectfully so he can feel like he's tough. And these kind of people, I eat them for breakfast. I am blessed with the, I have been blessed with the capacity to discern power, people's internal power dynamics, to understand where it comes from. And I'm not intimidated. I'm just not intimidated by people. So that kind of thing doesn't work on me. And I tend to be quite, I tend to be that thing, in in those movies as well, they have the person that they want to break because it's just not working. I'm that person. So I was that person with him as well that day, and I humiliated him, which was a pleasure, which was a real pleasure to do. I mean, everyone in the room felt the humiliation. Everyone felt his humiliation, and so that's why he came on. He came down on me even harder. But pretty much, yeah. So pretty much, like when it was my turn, he asked me like, "So do you know why you're here?" Actually, before we sat down, they told us that the three of us have been arrested for being in breach of COVID sanitary measures, and we're just like, okay, fine, whatever. There were like thousands of people walking around us who also weren't wearing their masks, but you didn't ask every single one of those people to come into this police station. So I'm just kind of like dubious about your real motives. And it turns out actually that they were choosing people at random because that guy had a particular quota that he needed to meet. We heard them speaking about it between him and his other bosses. And so they were just picking people at random. So, I mean, it's all bullshit anyway. We knew this, but it's just irritating to have to go through the process of playing their dumb game. Anyway, and yeah. So, now we've been arrested for breaching COVID measures. And you, young lady, me being the young lady, you've been arrested because for two reasons. Not only for breaching COVID measures, but also for breaching our moral measures. This is a thing. So this is very new for me because I spent most of my life growing up in, I guess you could say Western culture where that kind of thing isn't a thing. And nobody gonna tell you that because you're wearing a mini skirt that you're in breach of moral values, right? So, okay, fine. I'm in a conservative country, so I guess whatever, fine. I still think it's fucking ridiculous, but sure, whatever, fine. So I'm just like, you're fucking kidding me, right? Like, you're seriously fucking kidding me. But okay, sure, whatever, fine. So anyway, so then they told us to sit down, and then they were gonna call us one by one to go sit in front of the guy's desk, who's gonna take down our names, and apparently we're gonna go in the police truck, and then we're gonna be taken to the prison where we're gonna be held. And I'm just like, nigga, fuck this shit. I'm not going to jail today. Fuck you. Anyway, these guys are corrupt. So, you just need to pay them some money, and then you're out. Then, of course, obviously, they had a fine. We had a fine that we needed to pay, and we didn't have that money. We didn't have the fine for the sanitary measure breach, and I had a double fine because I was also in breach of moral values, because my legs were showing because I was wearing a mini skirt. Anyway, so, this is what I think of it. This is what I think about this. The eye roll is exactly what I think about this. It's ridiculous. Especially ridiculous because on a daily basis, I see chicks dressing the way that I was dressed. I mean, just in terms of the length of my skirt and shorter. And I'm just like, I bet these bitches ain't never been goddamn stopped for breaching moral values. But anyway, again, that day they were trying to meet a quota, so they were just looking for reasons and finding them. So it comes to my turn, and the guy's like, and I'm fucking annoyed. I am fucking annoyed, but I'm just like, I'm calm. I'm annoyed, but I'm calm, and I'm just like, just do your stupid fucking thing. If I have to go to prison, fine. But I'm not going to just, I don't have time for your intimidation game that I know you're trying to do. You've tried to do with everyone. Just fucking write my name down and fuck off. Okay, so anyway, it's my turn, and then, yeah, he says, so you know why? So yeah, I sat down, and I didn't really know what to expect. I just know he told me to sit down. And then he's like, I'm yours. And I'm just like, what do you want from me? He's like, well, what do you have to say to me? And I'm like, nigga, I don't know what I have to say to you. You're the one who asked me to sit here. The fuck? Aren't you the one who's supposed to tell me what I'm here for? Ugh. And so, yeah, after he's like, well, you've been arrested because you're in breach of not only COVID measures, but you're also in breach of moral values. Blah, blah, blah. Do you understand that? And I'm just like, okay, fine, sure. Do you have the money to, the X amount of money to pay your fine? No, I don't. Well, then you're going to be taken to the truck and blah, 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 taken to jail, taken to prison or whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. You can go sit down. I think before even I sat down, I don't know if he said you can go sit down right away. But anyway, at some point I said, I think he asked me like, do you know what it means? Do you know what it means to be in breach of moral values? And I'm just like, yeah, I have an idea of what that means, yeah. It's like, do you realize that the way that you're dressed right now is in breach of moral values? And I'm like, okay, if you say so, sure. I mean, I don't really know about this law, but whatever, fine. I'm in breach of it. Cool. And he's like, you don't know about this law. And he's just irritated. He's irritated with how cool I am under his pressure. So he's just like, he's starting to get fired up, trying to just like find a way to just, yeah, to make me trip up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, nigga, what do you want? Ugh. But I don't say that. I'm just like, okay, what? Just get to the point. Get to the point. Because this is annoying. I have better things to do. I have to be in jail soon. Can we just shut up about this and just put me in jail already? Ugh. I'm one of those. I'm really one of those unfortunate people. I have that attitude. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Anyway. So, he's like, yeah. Being in breach of moral values pretty much means that the way that you're dressed here is wrong. We had a raid a few months ago or a few weeks ago, whatever, where we went down to this neighborhood. Pretty much that neighborhood he was talking about is where there's like prostitutes who hang around. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so now I'm a prostitute. Okay, cool. And he's like, yeah. And then we had to tell, we collected, we rounded up a whole bunch of women there because they were in breach of moral values, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, cool, great, awesome. Great story. Keep going. Yeah. And, yeah. Then afterwards, he's like, yeah, again, he can tell I'm not really impressed with what he's saying. I'm just listening. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, what do you want me to say? I have nothing to say. I don't really care. This is stupid to me, and I'm just here to follow the motions so I can get out. I have nothing to argue for myself. I have nothing to defend myself with because I don't even believe I have to. So, then afterwards, he's getting incensed. I don't remember exactly how he got there. He gets to the point where he's just like, the problem is young women like you who arrest men, who get men arrested, saying that they have raped you, and they go to trial, and they get put to jail for nothing when you're the one who's dressed XYZ type of way. And I'm just like, wow, this nigga just said this. I can't believe it. Because, again, I grew up mostly in Western culture, and now I'm back in a country that is not that does not live by Western culture values. It's my home country, but it's not the values that I grew up with, and so my spirit is still not there. And I still don't agree with those particular things, and I never will because I think it's stupid. But whatever. So anyway, and so I'm just like, because I grew up in Western culture most of my life, there's a conversation about, like, there's you don't victim blame, you don't victim shame, you don't, it's wrong to do that. You don't blame a woman for what she's wearing, and you don't see that as an excuse for, oh, this is why she got raped and she deserved it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this nigga is for real saying this to me, and he is serious. He is dead serious, and this is his argument, and this is why I should know that I'm wrong. And I'm just like, I'm looking at him like, oh my god, are you for real? Are you for real? I'm not even hurt. I'm not hurt. It's not hurtful to me. I just think you're stupid. I'm like, wow. Wow, you really think this? And I'm just like, and so I say to him, like, I'm not wrong for wearing what I'm wearing. He's like, you're not wrong for wearing what you're wearing? No, I'm not to blame. And he tries to give me this example. He's like, so what do you think happens when some guy is coming out of his bar, he's drunk, he's taking drugs, and he sees you dressed like this? You think that he's wrong for trying to do something to you? I'm like, yes, he is wrong for trying to do something to me, because the problem is not how I'm dressed. The problem is his fucking lack of self-control. And now, like, because I've gone, all right, because at this point I'm standing up, because he's like, stand up. And I'm just like... Nigga, what? Nigga, what the fuck do you think you're gonna prove? Do you think you're gonna somehow shame me because you're making me stand in front of people so people can see how I'm dressed like a whore? Nigga, fuck you. You are talking to the right one. So anyway, I'm just like, yeah. And at this point, yeah, this is when this whole conversation is going on, and oh, my fire is up. I'm still calm, but my fire is up, and I'm just talking to him like, nigga, don't even talk to me like I'm stupid. And he is getting so humiliated because my arguments are so on point. And he's just like, really? What? I'm not wrong, blah, blah. And like, everyone is silent. Everyone in the thing is just silent. They're just watching. And I'm just like, inside I can just feel it, because I'm an actress, right? And so part of being an actress is, the feeling when everyone is focused on you. You know the feeling when everyone is really taken by your performance. And I'm just like, you don't even know how everyone feels, how stupid you are, and how right I am right now. Dumb shit. Anyway, I am pissed. Ooh, I'm so pissed about it, because I have every reason to be. So anyway, yeah, so then afterwards, like, he was just like, sit down. And I'm like, okay. Okay. Are we done? Oh, cool. Nice, thanks. So anyway, afterwards, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that particular interaction. There were more things. He kept on trying. After that, he just kept on trying to be an asshole towards me. Like, no reading. No writing. Because afterwards, I was just like, nigga, I'm going to keep myself busy. You think that? Nah. Because there was nothing saying that you can't, write. You can't read a book. You can't blah, blah, blah. So I pulled out my book and started writing. And I started writing about that very moment. I was journaling. I was like, this is dumb shit. Fuck all these niggas. What the fuck? No. And there was other cops who were like, ooh, so what are you writing? I'm like, I'm writing my thoughts. Yeah, that's what I'm writing. And I was writing for about like 10 to 15 minutes, and after a while, the guy he was just so frustrated because he was just trying to be so cool while everyone else in the room is, they're filled with stress. They're like, oh my God, they're asking me to pay this much money. I don't have the money to pay for this. They're kind of putting my life in turmoil. They're being so mean to me, blah, blah, blah. And that guy who's that power hungry loser, he's kind of like, la, 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 la. I'm trying to be the cool guy who's singing and, humming while he's doing his thing, trying to be all like, he's trying to be that douchebag. And I'm just like, my friend, I've got you pegged. I know your type exactly. You actually have zero power inside. And you are going to see today that you are dealing with the right one. So I'm doing my thing. I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm pissed, obviously. I don't want to be here. But I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm going to be fine while I'm here. You are not going to destroy or break me because I'm not the one. I'm not the one. Anyway. So other things happened after that. But that's not really the point. The point of all of this story time was, again, to speak about the fact that it is not my fault or any woman's fault or anybody's fault, but mostly women, let's get real, for how they are dressed. It is not my fault It's not my appearance that allows you to disrespect me. No, it is not. Get some goddamn respect for your fellow human being. That's as simple as that. Get some self discipline. Realize that you don't just get to say what you want about whoever because there's something about them that you see. There's certain parts of a person that are intimate. And yes, you can see them, but it doesn't mean that you get to comment on them. Because whether or not you're wearing a burqa or not, I still know you have boobs. I still know you have a vagina. I can tell you at any point, nice boobs, nice vagina. Okay? But I still don't get to because it's not my fucking intimate parts to say that about. You're not my girlfriend. You're not my best friend. We don't have that kind of bond for me to be able to say that about you. So it doesn't matter how I'm dressed and it doesn't matter what state you're in. Nothing excuses it. Ah. So anyway, yeah. I just wanted to talk about that. Say that. Speak my mind, speak my peace, speak my heart. You know, add to this conversation that's been going on forever and ever. And yeah, final words is really to implore. I really wish more women had my perspective on this. You know, just had my assurance and my confidence when it comes to this because I don't feel victimized as a person. I don't feel victimized as a woman when I'm treated disrespectfully. No matter how disrespectfully I'm treated by a man, to the point of sexual assault, I don't feel victimized because I know I'm not wrong. I know that I am righteously right. In fact, righteously right. I am a punitive soul. And if you fuck with me, anyway, I'm just going off now. But I just really wish that more women will realize that you're not to blame. And yes, it does suck. It does suck when this type of thing happens. But you are still not to blame. And you need to understand that this person is weak. Weakness leads people to do something so disrespectful to someone else. You are above them. And remember that. Ah, I wish you well.